What if I told you, Islam reached Africa before it reached Medina? What if I told you the very first African to accept Islam wasn't a poor villager, wasn't even a trader, but a king, who risked his throne for the truth? And here's the twist, the Prophet Muhammad himself prayed his funeral, from miles away. So, who was he? And was he truly the first African Muslim? Stay with me, because this story will shock you. Part 1. The danger in Makkah. Makkah was on fire with anger. Muslims were tortured, mocked, and killed. Bilal ibn Rabah, an African slave, lay on the burning sand, crying, Ahad, Ahad. Sumayya bint Qiyat, the first martyr, was struck down. The Prophet looked at his followers and whispered the unthinkable, "Go to Abyssinia." But why Abyssinia? Why Africa? Because the Prophet said, there is a king there, under whom no one is wronged, and that king would change history. Part 2. The secret journey. Imagine this: small boats, slipping across the Red Sea at night. Men, women, and children, leaving everything behind. Not for Medina. Not for safety in Arabia. But for Africa. Did they know that their footsteps would make Africa one of the first safe havens of Islam? Part 3. Face to face with the king. The Quraysh chased them with gifts of gold. They demanded the king of Abyssinia hand over the Muslims. But the king, Al-Najashi, wanted to hear them first. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib stood tall. He said, "O king, we were a people lost, until Allah sent us a messenger." Then he recited from Surah Maryam. Imagine the Quran echoing through a Christian palace. Priests clutching their scrolls. Tears flowing. And the king whispered, "This is the same light that came from Jesus. Hope's unlocked." Right pointing arrow. But here's the question: did the king only admire Islam? Or did he actually accept it? Part 4. The hidden truth. Years later, news reached Medina. The Prophet gathered his companions and said, "Pray for your brother, the righteous king of Abyssinia has died." Brother? Yes. The Prophet prayed janazah in absentia, something only done for Muslims. So Najashi, the Christian king, had secretly become Muslim. But was he the first African? Or was it Bilal, the Ethiopian slave who accepted Islam in Makkah? Or was it nameless villages in Abyssinia, who heard Quran and quietly said Shahada? The answer isn't simple. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Part 5. The ripple effect. From that moment, Islam in Africa began to spread. Merchants carried it into Somalia, Sudan, and beyond. Caravans took it across the Sahara, into Mali, Ghana, and Timbuktu. On the Swahili coast, it blended with African culture, sailing as far as Zanzibar. Kings like Mansa Musa would rise, stunning the world with their devotion and wealth. Timbuktu would become a global center of Islamic knowledge. And all of it can be traced back to that first migration. A group of desperate Muslims. A just king. And tears shed over Surah Maryam. Part 6. Why this story matters so. Who was the first African Muslim? Was it Bilal, the slave who cried, Ahad, Ahad? Was it Najashi, the king who embraced Islam in secret? Or was it an unnamed fisherman who whispered the Shahada after hearing Quran? The truth is, Africa's connection to Islam is not about one person. It is about a bond that began in the Prophet's lifetime. A bond sealed with justice, tears, and faith. Closing. So remember this: Islam reached Africa before it reached Medina. Africa was never a footnote in Islamic history. It was part of the story, from the very beginning. And maybe that's the lesson. Allah chooses people we least expect, a slave, a king, a villager, to carry his light. African New Dawn. This is Islam in Focus TV. Subscribe, share, and never stop reflecting. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.